So welcome everyone to the this afternoon meditation and discussion. Afterwards, we're going to do a meditation first, based on today's workbook lesson 50 on the Course in Miracles workbook. I am sustained by the love of God. And reading from the text. So it's going somewhere where you're not going to be disturbed. Putting your phone on mute or silent. Sitting comfortably, feet shoulder width apart, cup your hands on your lap, keep your back straight. Close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in. Clench the sphincter muscle. It's the muscle base of the spine that you use to track the flow of urine or squeeze the last drops out. So locks the energy in. Creates a pumping action of the spine. So just draw the energy out of the spine into your heart center, the one end in your heart. And you feel this warm wave of energy rising all the way up into the crown of your head. Pause at the top of the inhale, smile. And just check in with your mind, scan your mind now. And just notice any thoughts and emotions going on. Anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, restricting. So notice those thoughts, notice the emotions, notice how it feels physically. Maybe there's a knot in your stomach, butterflies in your stomach, tightness in your chest, tightness in your neck and shoulders. Notice any of these symptoms really that you're out of alignment with love, and then just apply today's lesson. See yourself, I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God in all circumstances. Jesus says, here is the answer to every problem that will confront you today and tomorrow and throughout time. In this world, we believe that we are sustained by everything but God and love. Faith is placed in the most trivial and insane symbols. Pills, money, protective, clothing, influence, prestige, being liked, knowing the right people, and an endless list of forms of nothingness that you endow with magical powers. So if there's any distress, it's almost certainly because you valued one of these illusions. So just as you exhale now, say one more time, I'm sustained by the love of God. And as you exhale out, just have a sense of letting go of all that negativity and the underlying belief that caused it. Truth is, it's your own attachment to the world that causes you to suffer. Just blow all these things away. The breeze of your breath, letting them all go into the nothingness that they really are. Nothing else to go, nothing else to do. Nothing else to think about for the next half an hour or so. Just breathe, relax, be still. Sink into the stillness. breathing in again. And just watching the breath. You see the stomach rise, the chest rise. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just pause at the top of the inhale, smile. Notice a very calming, spacious awareness in the mind and gap between breaths, and the gap between my words. Just expanding, expansive awareness in which you can experience the lessons pointing to support of the love of God, which is eternal, which can never go away. It is the truth, it is permanent reality. Have a sense of that arising in you. Letting go as you exhale, each time up the nose, just sighing it all out. So letting go of any thoughts that block that awareness, and the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, as Jesus calls them in the introduction to the text in this profound book we're studying. Just let any blocks go. Imagine they're leaving you like black smoke out of your mouth. And you go surrendering it to the nothingness that it really is. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. And completely empty. Rest here for a few moments. Really notice the stillness and the love. The love is found in stillness and emptiness. It arises in these gaps between breaths, and gaps between my words. Smile. Come into the fullness of emptying yourself of all of your own ideas about the world, about what's valuable in the world, what's going to make you safe, what's in your best interests. Truth is, you do not really know. Jesus says all these things are replacements for the love of God. The tools and the protective clothing and the masks and the vaccinations and the money and status and endless list of forms of nothingness, as it calls them. All these things are cherished to ensure our body identification. Our songs of praise to the ego. Do not put your faith in the worthless. It will not sustain you. It's been very clear. This is one of those beautifully clear messages. You cannot misunderstand it. Put your faith in anything in this world and it will disappoint you, because it is ultimately untrue. Therefore, it is worthless and will not sustain you. Only the love of God will protect you in all circumstances. It will lift you out of every trial and raise you high above all the perceived dangers in this world. It's a climate of perfect peace and safety. It will transport you into a state of mind that nothing can threaten, nothing can disturb, and where nothing can intrude upon the eternal calm of the Son of God. An extension of love, which is you. Put not your faith in illusions. They will fail you, says Jesus. Put all your faith in the love of God within you, eternal, changeless, and forever unfailing. This is the answer to whatever confronts you today. Through the love of God within you, you can resolve all seeming difficulties without effort and in sheer confidence. Tell yourself this often today. It's a declaration of release from the belief in others. It is your acknowledgement of the truth about yourself. So as you keep watching the breath, Select the idea today in yourself. I am sustained by the love of God. Quite firmly, slowly to yourself. Just let it sink deep into your mind. Repeat it again. I am sustained by the love of God. And again, I am sustained by the love of God. You can say it out loud if you want. Say it in your mind. Let related thoughts come to help you recognize its truth. Allow peace to flow over you like a blanket of protection and surety. Feel the peace arising as you keep watching your breath. Breathing in this peaceful presence into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body. Allow peace to flow over you like a blanket of protection and surety. With no idle and foolish thoughts enter to disturb the holy mind of the Son of God, which is you, the extension of love. Such is the kingdom of heaven. Such is the resting place where your Father has placed you together. And so just sink into this place. Kingdom of heaven. Visualize in your mind and your heart. Just keep watching the bird. With one hand in your heart center to anchor in your heart presence. And listen to these words. If we take you deeper into the totality of the kingdom, there's an experiential reality, not theoretical. It's designed to give you an experience of this kingdom Jesus refers to. Kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of love, which is total, holy, complete. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax. Be still as you listen to these profound words. In section 7 of chapter 7 of the text of the Course in Miracles, entitled The Totality of the Kingdom. Jesus starts off by saying, whenever you deny a blessing to a brother, you will feel deprived, because denial is as total as love. It is as impossible to deny part of the sonship as it is to love it in parts. Nor is it possible to love it totally at times. You cannot be totally committed sometimes. Denial has no power in itself, but you can give it the power of your mind, whose power is without limits. If you use it, this power, to deny reality, reality is gone for you. Reality cannot be partly appreciated. Very important point. This is an all or nothing deal. and accepting reality, truth entirely. If you deny it in any aspect, then you deny all of it. That is why denying any part of it means you have lost the awareness of all of it. Yet, denial is a defense. And so it is as capable of being used positively as negatively. Used negatively, it will be destructive because it will be used for attack. In the service of the Holy Spirit, it can help you recognize part of reality and thus appreciate all of it. Mind is too powerful to be subject to exclusion. You'll never be able to exclude yourself from your thoughts. Pause here and just keep watching the breath. Nice, deep, slow, rhythmical breaths, just sinking a little bit deeper with the breath. Slowly, peaceful, calm, relaxed thoughts. And just go. Nothing else to do. Breathe, relax, be still to the center. To anchor you into the present moment. It's the purpose of the breath to create the backdrop, the ground of being. It's a nice empty vessel of your mind into which these ideas can just drop. And because your cup is empty, you can now become filled up. So knowledge can really penetrate to the deeper parts of your mind. So keep watching your breath. Notice any distracting thoughts. Just gently let them go with your breath. Imagining you just blowing them away. Let's continue panel 2 as we also continue watching your breath. So Jesus said, when a brother acts insanely, he is offering you an opportunity to bless him. His need is yours. You need the blessing you can offer him. There's no way for you to have it except by giving it. This is the law of God, and it has no exceptions. What you deny, you lack. Not because there is a lack, but because you've denied it in another. You're therefore not aware of it in yourself. Every response you make is determined by what you think you are. What you want to be is what you think you are. What you want to be then must determine every response you make. It's pure reflecting on this. What you want to be, what you choose to be. Choose to be happy, loving, peaceful, and joyful. And that must determine every response you make. And the alternative is default state, the ego. Also wants to determine every response you make. But it's not kind. It's not me and you or anyone. Keep watching your breath. Let's continue. You hear what Jesus has to say about the totality of the kingdom. He says, you do not need God's blessing, because that you have forever. But you do need yours. The ego's picture of you is pride, unloving, and vulnerable. You cannot love this. Yet you can very easily escape from this image by leaving it behind. You are not there, and that is not you. You not see this picture in anyone, or you have accepted it as you. All illusions about the sonship are dispelled together as they were made together. Teach no one that he is what you would not want to be. Your brother is the mirror in which you see the image of yourself, as long as perception lasts. And perception will last until the sonship knows itself as whole. You made perception, and it must last as long as you want it. Jesus is telling us it will last for as long as we want it. Perception, separate bodies, separate people, separated world. So you must let it go. You must let go of the investment in attachment to these illusions. As Jesus says, illusions are investments. They will last as long as you value them. Values are relative, but they are powerful because they are mental judgments. The only way to dispel illusions is to withdraw all investment from them. And they will have no life for you because you will have put them out of your money. When you include them in it, you are giving life to them. So there's nothing there to receive your gift. The gift of life is yours to give because it was given you. You are unaware of your gift because you do not give it. You cannot make nothing live, since nothing cannot be enlivened. Therefore, you are not extending the gift you both have and are. And so you do not know your being. All confusion comes from not extending life, because that is not the will of your Creator. It's simply to allow this life essence, the loving presence, the light, doesn't matter what you call it, words or the symbols, us removed from reality. As Jesus explains in the Course, not allowing this presence to come through you, saying to yourself, I can do nothing apart from Him. Jesus says, you can do nothing apart from Him, from God, from love. And you do nothing apart from Him. Keep His way to remember yourself, and teach His way lest you forget yourself. Give only honor to the sons of the living God, and count yourself among them, gladly. And smile at that thought. You're among the sons of the living God. It's the very presence of life, essence of your own life. That's what Jesus is referring to. Only honor is a fitting gift for those whom God Himself, love itself, life itself, phrase it in different terms, created worthy of honor, and whom He honors. Life, life essence, loving presence, honors everyone and everything. That is the ultimate truth. To give all your brothers the appreciation God accords them always, because they are His beloved sons, in whom He is well pleased. We translate that sentence as give them appreciation with life accords them always, because they are the beloved extension of life, in whom life is well pleased. And remove God out of it entirely. Substitute another word like life or love or light, and the effect is the same. Remember, the words point to eternal reality. It's beyond the words. So you cannot be apart from them, your brothers, because you are not apart from Him, only apart from love and life. Rest in His love. Protect your rest by loving. Rest in His loving presence. And protect this rest, the peace that arises by loving and extending the love. But love everything He created, of which you are a part. For you cannot learn of His peace and accept His gift for yourself and as yourself. You cannot know your own perfection until you have honored all those who are created like you. So all your brothers and sisters, for anyone that's caused any kind of difficulty or problems in your life, you're feeling angry, fearful, frustrated by or towards someone, and just remember they are still Son of God, still an extension of this loving presence. So one child of God, one extension of this loving presence, is the only teacher sufficiently worthy to teach another. One teacher is in all minds, and he teaches the same lesson to all. This teacher is the Holy Spirit, speaks for God, speaks for love, His presence. He always teaches you with the inestimable worth of every Son of God. Every person is inestimable worth because of their source. Teaching it with infinite patience, born of the infinite love for which He speaks. Every attack is a call for His patience, since His patience can translate attack into blessing. Those who attack do not know they are blessed. They attack because they believe they are deprived. Give therefore of your abundance and teach your brothers theirs. Do not share their illusions of scarcity, or you will perceive yourself as lacking. Scarcity is one of His primary beliefs that keeps the system going. Keeps you believing that you lack in love. That's why scarcity, deprivation, sacrifice, ideas very deeply entrenched in this world. Keep watching the breath, and a nice, deep, slow, and little breaths as we finish off this profound section. Keep your mind in this nice, empty, calm, open, spacious awareness through the breath. Allow these words to just drop in like pebbles into a pond, and very still, calm, windless day. As your mind stays still, the ripple effects, really noticeable, rippling all the way into the depths of your subconscious mind, where fundamental change of mind will occur. So attack, Jesus continues, could never promote attack unless you perceived it as a means of depriving you of something you want. Yet, you cannot lose anything unless you do not value it, and therefore do not want it. And I read that sentence and it would make no sense. And yet you cannot lose anything unless you do value it, and therefore want it. Maybe that's a mistake in the editing. Leave it up to you to decide. In any event, the underlying message is clear. It's want something, you value something, and this makes you feel deprived of it. You don't have it. And by projecting your own rejection, you then believe that others are taking it from you. You must be fearful if you believe that your brother is attacking you to tear the kingdom of heaven from you. This is the ultimate basis for all the ego's projection. Fear, projection, attack. These are all beliefs in the mind. False beliefs. As Jesus says, being the part of your mind that does not believe it is responsible for itself. And being without allegiance to God, to love, the ego is incapable of trust. Projecting its insane belief that you've been treacherous to your Creator. It believes that your brothers, who are as incapable of this as you are, out to take God and love from you. Whenever a brother attacks another, that is what he believes. Projection always sees your wishes in others. You choose to separate yourself from God, His eternal, infinite, unconditional loving presence. That is what you will think others are doing to you. Being a genius, you are just to believe that other people are doing to us what we're actually doing to ourselves. We're rejecting our own source. The very love that gives us any kind of existence, any life at all. Because you are the will of God. Do not accept anything else as your will, or you are denying what you are. Deny this, and you will attack, believing you have been attacked. See the love of God in you. And you will see it everywhere because it is everywhere. See, there's abundance in everyone, and you will know that you are in Him with Him. And a part of you as you are part of God. You are as lonely without understanding as God himself, love itself. He's lonely when his sons, extensions of love, do not know him, do not know love. So it's an absurd situation. Extensions of love do not know extensions of love. Peace of God is understanding this. There's only one way out in the way of thinking, just as there is only one way into it. Understand totally by understanding totality. You have to understand the bigger picture, understand construct of the ego, steering to your mind. Perceive any part of the ego's thought system as wholly insane, wholly delusional, and wholly undesirable. And you have correctly evaluated it. This correction enables you to perceive any part of creation as wholly real, wholly perfect, and wholly desirable. Wanting this only, you have this only. Giving this only, you will be only this. The gift you offer to the ego. I always experience the sacrifice. The gift you offer to the kingdom. The gift to you. Will always be treasured by God, by his loving presence, because they belong to his beloved sons. The extensions of his loving presence you can call God, who belong to him. Extensions of love belong to love. Completely logical. All power and glory are yours, because the kingdom is his. Which brings us to the end of section today. So just sink in and do the 10-minute meditation. Jesus recommends in today's workbook lesson. Start off by saying, I am sustained by the love of God. A couple of times to say, I am sustained by the love of God. Now just sink in. Sinking into deeper part of the mind. Where you'll find the kingdom. And the totality of the kingdom. Jesus talked about in this section. Love and peace and joy abide. It will sink into me. The next 10 minutes of deep silence. Feel the presence, the power of this life, essence, loving presence, the love of God. Experience it rather than just being an intellectual idea. Rather than encompassing, unfolding, and enveloping, sinking into, going deeper and deeper into with each breath. Just breathe, relax, be still for the next 10 minutes of deep silence. If you notice any thoughts coming in response to what's going on around you, sounds, or just random distracting thoughts coming in, blocking the awareness of this loving presence in your mind. Just notice these thoughts, imagine you're like a cloud pattern just drifting by. Power to obscure the sky, true awareness, the light of the sun is your source. You just blow them away with the breeze of your breath. And then you go into the nothingness already are. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. Absolutely nothing else to think about. Next 8 minutes or so of deep silence, just sinking to the love of God, so being sustained by the love of God, feel that presence pouring in, sinking into the immersing yourself in it, allowing it to enfold you, to envelop you, to encompass you. Just merge into it. Presence is you, real presence. It's always teaching the same. You're not separate from it. Allow yourself to have that experience. Deep connection with the love of God. In your life, in your heart, putting in your heart center to help you keep watching and grow. And just surrender into the love of God that sustains you. In the next few minutes of deep silence. And so just gently coming back in this deep place, connection with God, love. Bring yourself back. On the count of 3 into an awareness of the body, sense of the world, that you're going to stay connected to this deep place the rest of the afternoon and evening. Truth is, it is your awareness, the only thing that is permanent and real about you. Your body, your sense perceptions, everything is made up in this world. Trivial and insane symbols Jesus calls them. Like clothes, money, protective clothing, masks, COVID pandemic, influence, prestige, being liked, knowing the right people. An endless list of forms of nothingness that you endow with magical powers. All of these things, the true meaning, reality of life. There's the love of God. He will never desert you. He wants it to be a problem if you confront you. Today, tomorrow, and throughout time. Smile at your thoughts. Breathe in on the count of 1. Notice how the stomach rises, chest rises. Slow flow of air into the nostrils. Pause at the top of the inhale. Smile. Notice that loving presence, love of God, still very much in your mind. It doesn't disappear just because bringing your mind back into an awareness of sense perceptions. Smile at that thought, feel the gratitude in your heart, and into your heart center, put one hand on your heart. So just use all of these physical actions like breathing, putting your hand on your heart, tension the sphincter, so feeling energy rising up the spine. All just anchors, ways of accessing this love of God, this higher state of awareness. Why we do spiritual practice and rituals, because they are the portal, the gateway to God. They are not God itself. We make them practices to a sacred ritual. But they can be helpful when we do them to connect with this loving presence. So exhale on the truth of that. Just sigh it out. And sighing on the back of the throat. Notice the vibration in the throat, the air flowing out of the nostrils. Just in the stomach suck back in. And as she subsides back down, the stomach and spine. Coming to rest there for a few moments in peace and stillness. Smile. And connect with the love of God. As always there. Breathing in again. So then notice the stomach rise, chest rise, subtle flow of air into the nostrils. Smile. Over the top of the inhale. And 2, just notice body sensations. And the weight of your body, pressing down into the chair, feet touching the ground. Subtle smell in your nose as you breathe in. Notice that. Taste in your mouth. Notice that. Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things from this very still, calm, surrendered, still moment. Nothing else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. And just surrendering into this love of God for the rest of the day. Just allow it to guide you. If you need thoughts, thought will be given. If you need a word, words will be given. Will come out of this state of presence, which means a very different quality, divine quality. This is what it means to be guided and inspired. Requires that you drop your own investments in the illusions of the world, your own thoughts about how you should cope, how you should manage this world of time and space, direct this body through a maze of time and space. So letting go of all those beliefs, allowing a presence that is in you but not of you. It's not the ego, it's not of this world. To guide you through a journey in life. And so 3, just open your eyes, looking around. Take a minute to reorient yourself, ground yourself back into this reality, seeming reality. Glance at a few things, no more than 2 or 3 seconds, and then move on to something else. Watch your breath as you do this. Just don't name anything. Don't give it a name, don't label it, don't judge it. Don't have an interpretation about it. And notice how peaceful it is when you do that. Just the peace arising in your mind because of this sameness of perception. If you're teaching in your mind is that there's really only one reality, there's only oneness. And the separation and the differences that you see in this illusory world really do not exist. They're false. Just like the mind in you that thinks they're real, the ego. Projection is just the idea in the mind of separation. And it's projected out into the world to create all kinds of trivial and insane symbols of separation, like clothes, money, protective clothing, status, special relationships with people, and the endless list of forms of nothingness that you endow with magical powers. Which is the same that all form is nothing. These are forms of nothingness, forms of an illusory idea. It doesn't matter how hard you try to make the illusions real, they never will be real, because you cannot decide what truth is. Truth is given. Truth is beyond your ability to alter it, to miscreate, to deny it in any way. So I wanted to have a discussion, some just good talk. There's no one else on today, so forgive me for the monologue, but just try and make it guided and helpful for you. So in these times we're living. Seemingly difficult times, turbulent times, a lot of change, a lot of seeming hardship and suffering, and caused worldwide by the COVID-19 pandemic, the so-called virus itself, apparently causing sickness and death, and all the restrictions, lockdown. It's caused a lot of people economic hardship. It's caused emotional hardship. I'm currently separated from my family. We're in the UK and South Africa. That's happened to many families around the world. Whatever's happening in your life, just consider it in the light of this parable that Jesus told. So I'm going to read you, I don't know if I can quote from the Bible, but parable has relevance, especially in today's times. Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7. Verses 24 to 27. So you can look it up if you want, but I'll read it to you. This is the English Standard Version of the Bible, so it's various versions, but the parable's the same. It's really about building your house on the rock. Jesus said, everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall, because it had been founded on the rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain fell and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. And what does the parable mean? Anyone who hears these words, you're hearing them now, it's the same presence that inspired Jesus 2,000 years ago to say them is inspiring me to speak to you. So the only question is, will you listen? Which is the same, really what the Holy Spirit is through vehicles like Jesus. This body is speaking to you now. All truth is coming from the same source. And that source is telling you that it doesn't matter what seems to be happening in the world. Rain and floods and the winds that the parable talks about are symbols of adversity. So in modern terms, is the COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdown. This is all beating on your house, and the house is your mind, your consciousness. If you built your house on the rock, what does Jesus mean by the rock? It's the rock of truth, foundation of what is true, what is permanent and eternal. As today's lesson and section of the text I read to you says, it's the love of God, the presence, the true reality, or the ground of being. Doesn't matter what you call it. The words are the symbols. Once removed from reality, what matters is that you acknowledge it, you're aware of it, you honor it. You allow it into your mind, you allow it to direct your thoughts, your feelings, your words, your actions. And when you do that, so when you do these words, and as you apply them, you listen to them, and you actually apply them in your life. And it doesn't matter what adversities you face. The rains can come, the storms of the world can come. Your mind is rooted in truth. It's your house, the house of your life, on the rock of truth. And so your house will stand. Your mind will remain untroubled, peaceful, serene. Doesn't necessarily mean you do nothing, but the action you take will be inspired and guided, coming from a loving state, a peaceful state, rather than a fearful, desperate state. Sadly, in these times, too many people are operating from desperation, which is fear. Nothing that comes from fear will ever work out well. So, the second part of the parable says, everyone who hears these words of mine does not do them, or does not apply them, will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. So, no solid foundation. And when the rains come, the adversities come, and the house will fall. So, the mind will fall into despair, into negativity, fear, doubt, worry, despair, ultimately depression. There's been a lot of that arising over the last year or so for people around the world, because they're invested in the illusions of the world, as today's lesson teaches, then they're valuing wrongly. These illusions will not sustain. So when adversities come and suddenly those illusions seem to be threatened, so you don't have as much money as you did, lost your job, your possessions are being taken away, threatened. You might lose your house, you might lose your car, you might lose the status, prestige that goes with having those things in our society. And you feel like you're bereft. It's like great was the fall of it. And this whole ego illusion just collapses. And invested in these illusions, you will feel bereft. You will feel you've had a great fall. The good news is that that's happened or happening to you. This is your opportunity for awakening. But those illusions in the self that believed in them, this false self that Jesus calls the ego in the Course, been called many things in religious and spiritual teachings over the centuries: devil, Satan, the deceiver, Lucifer. Seems to be the light, but it's not. It's leading you into the darkness. It always has its own ideas, its own interpretations of what's happening in the world, but they are false, they are wrong, because it's a separate self that is disconnected from love. That is thinking and feeling these things. They are simply not true. So any fear, any doubt, any worry, any frustration, any anger, jealousy, hatred, rage. These are extremes of this thought system. But even a minor irritation is just a cover for intense rage. All of this needs to come up. All of this needs to be looked at. And so, if COVID pandemic has done anything, it's forced people to look within, to look at what's arising in their minds, not to just distract themselves with something else, to deny these feelings and just go and surf the internet or watch a movie or go out for dinner. These distractions are no longer available, not as available. It's forcing you to look, to deal with your stuff, to face the ego, finally. It's not a pleasant job. It's not an easy job. This is who you think you are. And you're being asked to question all of that and ultimately let it go. So true spiritual transformation is not easy. Not just putting icing on a rotten cake, pretending that it's all nice and edible. So what's happened with COVID is the icing has been stripped away. The cake's been revealed as rotten. And that applies individually, individual people who believe in the ego, as well as collectively. Society is based in the ego's false ideas. It seems to be crumbling and seems to be decaying, degrading, dissipating. It seems to be lost. And ultimately, you cannot lose what is true. You can only lose what's false, what's illusory. So all these things that seem to be lost, economic well-being, financial abundance, so-called abundance, health of the body. None of these things are ultimately true. None of them are who you really are. This is pointing you to a state of mind that is beyond all these illusions. A state of ultimate truth, which is really the only purpose of life, is to come to an awareness of that truth. This is the atonement, as Jesus calls it, or the at-one-ment, process of at-one-ment. And so what's happening in the world is all perfect. Perfect in its apparent imperfection. It's happening for you, not to you. Please remember, it's helping you to wake up from the dream that you're a human, that you can be harmed, you can be hurt, you can suffer, you can get sick, you can die. These are all delusions, powerful delusions. Apparently, they seem to be everywhere in this world. Everywhere you look, you see sickness and suffering and death. But that's the setup. That's the way it was miscreated. He created an entire world, an alternate reality, a false world, to persuade us that what is false is true. That you really are an individual mind, capable of your own thoughts, feelings and emotions, capable of fears and desires, but also capable of suffering and death. This is an illusion that wants you to believe desperately, because if you don't believe these things, then you're free. And you've built your house on the rock, and that rock, you will realize, is all you really want. The house of your life here, anything external, you realize is ultimately going to fade away. It's not permanent, it's not true, it's not sustainable. So why would you value it? Why would you be attached to it? The answer is, in truth, it shouldn't be. It doesn't mean that necessarily let everything go materially, rather than sell all my possessions and live on the street or live as a hermit somewhere, tired from society. What it means is you relinquish the beliefs, so you can continue functioning, operating, actually at a higher level in the world, continuing your job if you have one, and maybe start another job or a business. It's maybe a bit more inspired, more guided. So some opportunity when something breaks down, something new to come. And the Spirit will guide you. This presence, the rock, because calls the Holy Spirit, the voice for love, intuition, your higher self, thought adjuster, the Ranchi book called it. Whatever you call it, there's a presence in your mind that will guide you through all the storms, through the difficulties, the challenges of this world. It's not going to keep coming. The world of time and space has always been challenging. We're just going through a phase maybe where it's more challenging for a lot of people. That means they've got to dig deeper and go more deeply into presence in their own mind, in their heart. Find that and allow it to guide them through the storms, to show them the way out of the prison of their illusions to the truth, which is what they've always wanted, because the truth is really honest with itself. The illusions that Jesus talks about are just symbols, pills, money, protective clothing or masks, same thing. Something that's going to protect you. Vaccinations, influence, prestige, being liked, knowing the right people, whatever else you care to put into it. If you're really honest with yourself, none of these things really made you happy. While they're there, they may give you a sense of temporary comfort, but as you may have found out, when they are not there, then you feel disturbed, you feel somehow bereft, you feel like you've lost, you feel exposed, fearful, vulnerable. So the attachment to these things creates that, then they must be part of the ego's thought system, because only the ego can create fear and doubt, and lack, scarcity. These are all equal ideas. In true love, there is only fullness. There is no scarcity, there's no lack. And there's no form, it's just perfect emptiness. Which when you experience it, translates into the fullness in your mind. There's a fulfillment that comes from the Spirit, peace of mind that the ego can never give you. It will try and substitute for the love of God. Jesus says all these things are replacements for the love of God. So we've made them up. We've cherished them, we've given value to them. These are the false idols that are referred to in biblical terms. We worship a false idol. It doesn't mean a golden calf or a statue of God or Jesus or the Buddha. What it means is these false images, which are really just ideas in the mind, in your mind, that you value. These are the false idols that are referred to in the world. And all these things are cherished to ensure a body identification. Jesus says there are songs of praise to the eager. Do not put your faith in the worthless. It will not sustain you. Only the love of God will protect you in all circumstances. It will lift you out of every trial and raise you high above all the perceived dangers of this world into a climate of perfect peace and safety. It will transport you into a state of mind that nothing can threaten, nothing can disturb, and where nothing can intrude upon the eternal calm of the Son of God. The Son of God is really just the extension of love. Another way of saying the same thing. So God is love, this eternal, infinite, unconditional, loving presence, and you are the extension of it. The Son of God or the extension of love. It is exactly the same thing. So don't get hung up on the words, they just point us to the truth. This Course in Miracles uses traditional Christian terminology, the Son, Father, Holy Spirit, God. But you could substitute other words from other traditions. It doesn't matter. It's what the words point to, what they refer to. And that's really what's important. It's about a universal experience rather than a universal theology. As Jesus also teaches in the Course, universal theology is impossible, but a universal experience is not only possible but necessary. So there's only one truth, there's really only one mind, there's only one love, and there's really only one experience of truth, of reality. We seem to be having different experiences in our human form, but those differences are illusory. It's part of the construct of separation. In truth, we are one. We have one experience. There's only one experience of love. Divine love. And it's calling you to experience it, to allow it to come into your mind and heal all of these illusions in your mind, to heal all pain, all sickness, all symptoms of separation. That's all these things are. As Jesus says, put not your faith in illusions, they will fail you. Put all your faith in the love of God within you. This loving presence in your own mind, in your own heart, can never leave you. It's eternal, changeless, and forever unfailing. This is the answer to whatever confronts you today. Through the love of God within you. You can resolve all seeming difficulties without effort and ensure confidence. Tell yourself this often today. It is a declaration of release from the belief in idols. It is your acknowledgement of the truth about yourself. So just remind yourself for the rest of today, for the week ahead, I am sustained by the love of God. I'm tempted to get upset by anything, to be fearful, to get frustrated, irritated, angry. That simple sentence, I am sustained by the love of God, can undo it all because it takes you deep into this essence of who you are. And when you know who you are, when you really feel that power, nothing in the world, nothing on this level really matters. So a lot of people have difficulties with teaching because they can't just not eat. I can't eat a house. I need some material sustenance. So they're just teaching saying I should just let go of all of that. No, it's not. Some of that might be happening, but it's happening for a reason. It's happening to help you free your mind. But you can function quite well in the world if you're not attached to any of these things. Okay, so on this level, the level of form, this world, what money is necessary. You can buy some stuff that's necessary. Food, shelter, clothing. But once you've covered the basics, stop wanting things in the world. Stop wanting to buy the latest designer iPhone outfit or whatever it is. You don't need anything externally to make you feel better, because the love of God is fulfilling. You have everything inside of you. And so you can get off the hamster wheel of seeking and not finding the answer inside of yourself. This is the way the ego is set up again. If you're somehow lacking, somehow unworthy in yourself, and then you seek outside yourself for an answer. And of course, there are many people and organizations, companies, businesses that are quite happy to sell you the answer, apparently. Whether that's in the form of pills or protective clothing or the latest designer outfit or a fancy car or whatever it is, it's going to make you feel better about yourself. So then you've got to go and earn money to buy stuff you don't really need. It's not going to work, which is really futile and ultimately depressing. So if you're feeling depressed, you're feeling sad, feeling alone, abandoned, know that it's just the ego arising. It's those deeper thoughts and emotions that most people don't like to face. They like to float on the surface of life. And we're making progress by traveling through horizontal time, linear time. And well, if I do that, and I'll get there, then I'll be making progress. If I earn more money, if I get a bigger house, meet the person of my dreams. So people are falsely valuing the superficial. It's a top layer of reality, human reality in this world. And they think they're here, and when they get there, they'll somehow be happier, because when they get there, then imagine that these things that they want, material things, relationships, whatever it is that you think is going to make you happy, I think that then you'll be in a better state. But actually you won't be, because even if you achieve those things, they won't last. They won't make you happy for long. Listening to talk by a lady called Marisa Peer, she's a hypnotherapist who's helped a lot of famous people, celebrities like Princess Diana, Amy Winehouse, many Hollywood celebrities. She says it's very interesting because these people actually feel deficient in themselves. They feel somehow unworthy. And there's a hole in their psyche and their soul. And then their strategy to fill that hole is to be successful, go out and achieve their dreams, what most people, think is worthwhile: money, fame, worldly success. And when they get there, then they find that it's an empty place. And actually, there's still a hole in their soul. And it doesn't really fill that. But now they've got nowhere to go on the surface level, because they've been there and done that. They've been successful, they've got the money, they've got fame, they've got status, they've got prestige. People think they're cool, people want to hang out with them because they're somehow more special than everyone else. And yet, it still feels emptiness, this aloneness, and that unworthiness in their psyche keeps coming up. And now they can't fix it externally. So then often they turn to drugs, alcohol, sex, shopping, whatever it is, to try and fill the hole. And of course, they've got money to indulge these pleasures. So, you know the story of celebrities often they end up in rehab centers, they end up, their lives are really in a mess, and this is supposedly success. Just another example of our upside down world. The problem was that they didn't really address the problem at its root cause. They didn't look within, find the false self, bring it into their minds, and deal with it and let it go. That's not a one-time process. That's moment by moment, day by day, spiritual practice. To undo the false beliefs, the thoughts, the emotions that they engender, that make up the ego. That is the spiritual call. That's dedicated to a process of awakening. You're on a spiritual path. And it's really the only way you're going to find happiness. Celebrity should be an obvious example of how not to do it. The fame, the money, power, status, whatever you think is going to work for you, just simply will not. It's not going to fall at all. So what will work? And as Jesus says, the love of God. So there's a deeper presence in you. It's always been there, but it's covered over and obscured in most people's minds by their own false beliefs about who they are, who they think they are, what they think they want and need in this world, the desires and the fears, the expectations, the doubts, the worries, the frustrations when you don't get your own way, the grievances you hold on to when someone has apparently mistreated you or denied your desires. These are the games the ego likes to play to keep you believing in a limited self, seemingly separated individual self. It's very lacking, very wanting, it's prone to fear, to anger, to guilt. It really is pretty pathetic when you compare it to what's possible, what's available. You're just willing to go a bit deeper, find it in your own mind. The kingdom of heaven is within, as Jesus said. Truth lies within you. And you know yourself. Know thyself. It's the inscription on the temple of the Oracle of Delphi. And those words are as true now as they ever were, possibly even more relevant, because in our culture and our society, we are not encouraged to know ourselves. We're encouraged to try and find ourselves outside of ourselves. Through things, people, places, events, circumstances. Seek outside yourself for some kind of identity. But you'll never find it there. It's a futile search. So if you're willing to give up that futile seeking and not finding programming the ego, you really want to find authentic happiness, sense of fulfilling flow, a higher purpose for your life than just satisfying material wants and needs. See what the ego, all the ego can really offer. And ecstatic well-being. What I mean by ecstatic is that you have this very high frequency energy, this feeling that arises in your mind, in your body, that is completely transcendent. It's a feeling of total power. There's peace in it. There's infinite, loving, expansive awareness of what love is. And that can be a moment-by-moment experience. You can experience that often in your day. Maybe not 24/7, unless you decide just to check out the world and meditate, but you can create a life where you experience this often by doing things like meditation, breath work, spiritual practices. The more you do these things, you can experience ecstatic well-being, ecstasy in meditation. Maybe you had a taste of it in the meditation you did earlier session. Here's what happens afterwards. It's really where the benefits kick in. So, done a meditation, you've gone into this ecstatic reality, and that continues on. You don't just lose that. Carry that with you the rest of your afternoon and evening. So I'd like to take a deeper dive into all this. Join me this Thursday evening. Will be Art of Letting Go Masterclass, which is happening Thursday evening, 1st of April, 7 p.m. UK time, British Summer Time, 8 p.m. South African time. It's a free masterclass, a couple of hours. I'll guide you through a 10-step letting go process. And I'll talk about how you can actually do this. You really want to master the art of letting go, to find your true self, to know yourself for the first time in your life, and experience all the benefits that come from that. I just mentioned them. Authentic happiness, and a happiness that's dependent on anything in the world. This is deeply rooted in your own being. Fulfilling flow means you can operate in the world, but not be of it. You don't really buy into the values of the world. But you can play the game, you can function in the world, but at a much higher level. You become a miracle worker, you become an avatar of this divine love. And your higher purpose becomes to spread that love, to teach that love in everything you think, say, and do. And Spirit will guide you in how to do that, using your unique skills, talents, abilities, life circumstances. Show you a higher purpose in your life. Purpose that is really fulfilling. Because you're filled up with the Spirit, you're filled up with love. When you study history, you find that people who really find fulfillment and happiness in their lives are the ones who've dedicated themselves to service to others in some way, which is really just an expression of love in action. So that's what it means by being in flow. And this divine love guides you in your thoughts, your words, and your actions. And you experience a state of ecstatic well-being. You feel that power coursing through every cell of your body. You feel it inspiring you to think and to say and to do things that are extraordinary. You don't necessarily need to change the form of your life, continue doing exactly what you're doing, but you do it now in a different way. It's what I call extraordinary goodness. Or maybe you're inspired to change it all, to really start living on purpose, to do something more meaningful with your life. Everyone's path is individual, and you will be guided, but just know that there is a way. So wherever you are currently, wherever your current circumstances, challenges, difficulties, problems, this is an invitation. If what I said today, meditation, or said over the last 40-odd minutes resonated with you, then join me for this free masterclass on Thursday evening, 1st of April, 7 p.m. UK time, British Standard Time, 6 p.m. GMT time. That's 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the US, and 8 p.m. South African time, or Central European Summer Time. So wherever you are in the world, it's a free session. It's happening online via Zoom. I'll broadcast it on YouTube. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel and you'll be notified when I go live. But I try to make it interactive, so why not join me live in the Zoom room? To do that, just go to VAOLG, that's THEAOLG.com. VAOLG.com. I'll stick that in the post attached to this video on YouTube, or wherever you happen to be watching it. There'll be a link, so click that link and sign up. Free masterclass. There's no obligation to do anything, maybe just learn something new, but I will be offering you an opportunity to really transform your life. If that's what you feel called to do, to really find that authentic happiness, sense of fulfilling flow and higher purpose, and static well-being, and really thrive even in these difficult times we live in. That you thrive because of them, because it's forced you to go deeper, forced you to find the true self that you've been yearning for in your life, but have never really had the courage, time to find. There's never been a better time. It's happened over the last year or so in the world. There's really a wake-up call. So we'll say, wake up to who you really are. Wake up to your true power, your true magnificence, and that's my invitation to join me this coming Thursday. So we can't make the 1st, we'll be again on the 15th of April. It's every second Thursday at the same time. But why delay? Go to VAOLG.com and sign up. It's a quick registration process, and you'll get some nice free bonuses, a couple of meditations. You'll get daily inspirational quotes, daily breath break or mini meditation via WhatsApp when you sign up. And I'm also going to give you a 3-week free trial. I run a course called the Art of Letting Go course, which really guides you through a 6-week process of deep transformation, really going into your mind, uncovering all these false beliefs and false identity, and helping you to let it go. And that's just the start. There's a whole spiritual path based on Course in Miracles that can unfold once you've done the 6-week course, if you want. It's all up to you. So head over to VAOLG.com to find out more about the masterclass and register. And I look forward to seeing you on the inside soon. In the meantime, And then if anything negative seems to happen, it's really just another opportunity to breathe, let go, and find your flow by remembering that you are sustained by the love of God. Thank you for listening to this meditation and this talk. I hope it's helped you to connect with that loving presence, and I hope it helps you to stay connected to it, to be guided by it always and always for the rest of the evening, the week ahead. Stay in the love of God. Stay in the loving presence that is you. Thanks again for listening, and say goodbye now. So, namaste, which means the divine love, this loving presence in me, acknowledges and honors that same loving presence in you.